Hello, good afternoon and welcome to the Midday News. This bulletin is coming to you live from our studios here at Kokomlemle in Accra on digital address GA0993341 on Joy 99.7 FM. Is also live on Love 99.5 FM in Kumasi, affiliates across the country on ABN Radio in London and around the world at myjoyonline.com. The news is brought to you by UMB Bank, UMB Speed Up, Digibank, Let's Go, Telesol 4G, proudly Ghanaian, Telesol, Just a Touch, and Makoto Parts Ghana, distributors of Isuzu and Chevy cars. Makoto Parts Ghana with you for the long run. Coming up, protesting residents of Adenta and Medina issued 10-day ultimatum to government to fix footbridges as dozens of people killed by speeding vehicles on the highway.
This week, if you don't see it, it will still continue.
Until you contractors.
We'll hear from the mothers now escorting their teenage SHS students to school on a daily basis. Government fails to meet its own deadline to send to Parliament legislative instrument on office of special prosecutor. The minority says it shows of lack of commitment to the corruption fight.
As I speak to you, the draft legislative instrument is ready. It will be one of the first instruments that the Attorney General will lay before Parliament when Parliament resumes in October.
Former University of Ghana Vice Chancellor predicts a crashed free SHS policy if government prevents parents from assisting financially.
When you deny all of these groups the opportunity to make serious, significant contributions, you are basically destroying the system. And the government does not have that money. Let us not pretend that the money is sitting somewhere and it doesn't have it.
We'll bring you more as the second batch of the double track begins today. And in sports,
the final countdown to this year's African Women's Championship is on, with the competition set to start this coming Saturday in 20. We'll hear from a normalization committee member calling for support for the Black Queens.
And later, words from Archbishop Duncan Williams to Christians kicking against construction of a national cathedral.
And some of you are fighting it because it's not your party and your president that is building it, so you must oppose it. And some of you love your political parties and more loyal to your political parties than you are to the Bible and the cause of Christ.
We have details plus more here on the Midday News with me, Emefa Apau. Sounds from another protest today by residents of Adenta and Medina to demand the fixing of staircases on footbridges built along the deadly highway. Police say 24 people have been killed, but the residents put the number of fatalities at 194. The protest is happening despite government's assurance that work on the footbridges will start in earnest this week.
Last year, 1st May.
No footbridge, no vote 2020.
But say I say Obama contractors, but we contractors were
until you be contractors, and I say until say you be me afro side away. Let me dey akwa kosi echiro. Na you say nipa ja akwa mucha. I think that will be enough to solve the problem.
He is just saying that they have vowed that if these footbridges are not fixed, we didn't go to work today because of this demonstration.
Yes. My brother was knocked down at the same filling station. You understand? It is very bad. Which kind of country are we?
But government said they are going to get contractors to come here.
When? This week. If you don't see it, it will still continue.
You heard there some protesters there. My colleague Komla Adum was with them all morning and joins us in the studio with more on this. So, Komla, what can you tell us about this protest today? Because there was some confusion about it happening or not happening. What more can you tell us?
MFA, rightly so, there was some confusion as to whether it was going to happen or not. There was a divided front, a group which didn't want the protest to happen, another group which insisted that the protest will happen. So at about 5 a.m., the individuals began, gathering in front of the West Africa Senior High School, and before long, over 100 people had gathered. Many of them didn't go to work this morning, and then they were, were part of this protest. Essentially, they called it a peace march. At a point, they were not allowed to go beyond a certain limit because they had not agreed with police to move beyond that point, and so police insisted that they didn't go beyond that point. Many individuals were there. Notable among them was the 2016 independent presidential candidate Jacob Osayeboa. He is a resident of Adenta, and he said it's time for them to rise up now, and until they find the footbridges fixed, they will continue to protest.
Okay. And we all know what has been going on. This is an issue about life. We are not saying that we are bad roads, but we are talking about people dying on our roads. And these footbridges have been there over 10 years. The safety on the road was very bad. But one thing that we've noticed is that after Thursday, they fixed some of the lighting. You could see that even in broad daylight, some of the lights are on. The government has promised for zebra crossing and things like that. There was a miscommunication, and we knew that some people wanted to do something. That is why all of us were here. Okay. So that is exactly what we are doing.
Okay. Is it not the case that you guys are not satisfied with the assurances you've been given so far that these things will be fixed? Contractors are moving in.
Yes. What they are saying is that they want to see something being done before they will realize that the thing. Okay. They don't trust the.
So, Komla, we're also told that that we are learning that there was some sort of a disagreement that led to a clash of a sort between the protesters and the police. What actually happened?
MFA, so the protesters had agreed that they were going to march from the West Africa Senior High School to Adenta SDA Junction. But along the line, they were insisting that they were going to go beyond this point and go to Race Junction and even go as far as Atomic Junction because they say the highway stretches all over to that point. But the police insisted that per the agreements they had with leaders of this particular march, they were going to end at SDA Junction, and SDA Junction it was. So police had to bring their crowd control vehicles to create a blockade over there. And we spoke to ACP Efriye, he's the Malina Divisional Police. He told us about why they would not allow the protesters to go beyond that point.
As for you police, we are ever prepared to face any eventuality. So it's up to them. I think that they are political leaders. MPs are here, MCs are here. So the leaders of this procession, or let's say, should I say demonstration, at least they know where to go. Police, we cannot fix it. Ours is for peace. So it's up to them to go to the appropriate source or sources, prevail upon them to come and fix their whatever problem difficulties they are having.
So you are not moving beyond this point from the agreements you had with them.
This before they started the match, and then initially we agreed that it will end at a place called KK Junction. But later, you saw that the distance is short, so you allowed them to reach this SDA Junction. So from here, you are not allowing them to move on again.
Okay. But this is my problem. I was in the crowd just now, and when the moment they saw.
Komla Adum there speaking to ACP Efriye. Thank you very much, Komla. Now, it appears some mothers fearing for the lives of their children in senior high schools are now escorting them to school for fear they might be told the unfortunate. They decided to join the march after bringing their children to school and will 10 at 3 p.m. to pick them up.
And I pay a colony man brow so no bad the chocolate most because they have registration.
My daughter refused to come to school today because she saw Mariam, who died last week before she was hit. She told me she's afraid to cross the road, so I had to stop my work just to bring her to school. At 3 o'clock, I would have to leave work again and go pick her up. For how long can I do this? We are asking government to please fix the footbridges. We beg. As you can see, its absence is even affecting our productivity.
So you heard there some mothers. So the protesters are telling government to do something within the 10 days. Komla will tell us exactly what their expectations are within that 10-day ultimatum that they've given government. What do they want to see exactly?
They want to see contractors moving with the equipment, their vehicles, building materials to the ground to begin work, and they tell me that they're going to actually assist them in terms of moving equipment from one point to the other, in terms of mixing the concrete, for example, carrying the blocks. They say they're bent on seeing these footbridges fixed as soon as possible to prevent many more lives from being lost.
Thankfully, you didn't hear any more gunshots today, Komla. Thank you very much. Now, it's dark and gloomy. That is perhaps what best describes the state of lighting on major highways in Accra. A drive through the capital shows a poorly lit city with broken or malfunctioning streetlights. For many motorists, this questions government's commitment to road safety. Ernest Menu has more in this report.
It's 8 p.m. Night has fallen. We set off from our Kokomlemle office and joined the Tesano Achimota Road. We then moved to the N1 highway, and the brilliantly golden light looking down on the streets makes night driving such a delight. But as we approach the Tetekwashi interchange, the light fades gradually, and we are ushered into a realm of darkness. It's like day and night. The Tema motorway is undoubtedly one of the most important road networks in the country, but today, not a single street light on the entire 19-kilometer stretch is functioning. Motorists are unhappy.
If you don't have proper illumination, you could get some accidents, so it's of a great concern to every motorist. You know, it looks like we are getting to a point where we accept it like that. You pay, you know nothing will be done, but you have no obligation to stop. But we pray and hope that things will change, because once we pay, we expect that we'll have good roads, we'll have good lights and all that, so that we can help avoid accidents.
For commercial drivers especially, the poorly lit highway makes paying tolls a painful act.
If
your car develops a fault on the motorway, you could easily be attacked. So if the street light is working, it will help us. So government should fix this.
There
are many cars that use the motorway, so I believe the tolls collected will be enough to fix the lights.
But the situation does not persist on the Tema motorway. The stretch of road from Laboni through La and some parts of Teshi, especially around the Peshi Lagoon, remain dark. The only source of illumination is from shops, offices and 4 stations dotted along the streets. So if the Electricity Company of Ghana is still deducting money from my electricity payment for the provision and maintenance of street lights, which areas in Accra are benefiting from the compulsory customer support? Ernest Menu for Joy News.
This is the Midday News here on Joy 99.7 FM. Away from roads and its largely poor nature, government has failed to meet its own deadline to send to Parliament a legislative instrument on the Office of Special Prosecutor. The LI will, among others, allow for the Special Prosecutor Martin Amidu to recruit staff. More than a year after the establishment of the office, the LI has not been presented to Parliament. Deputy Chief of Staff Abu Jinapo assured us in September this year of government's commitment to see the LI passed.
As I speak to you, the draft legislative instrument is ready. It will be one of the first instruments that the Attorney General will lay before Parliament when Parliament resumes in October. And so government commitment in establishing this institution of the Office of Special Prosecutor is unflinching and total.
So you heard that the Deputy Chief of Staff on the 27th of September 2018. But the LI is yet to be laid before the House. Vice Chairman of the Subsidiary Legislation Committee, Bernard Ahiafo, says this shows government's lack commitment to fighting corruption.
I have not seen or cited a copy of that particular LI, let alone talking about a committee meeting where a pre-laying has been carried out. It's one thing making sweet promises with sugar-coated words, appearing to be fighting for corruption, and it's another thing fighting corruption. In reality, we are not seeing much of it because the Office of the Special Prosecutor has been in existence for some time. What is actually delaying in bringing LI to be able to give full effect to the Act? It has long overdue.
You heard the Vice Chair of the Subsidiary Legislation Committee of Parliament, Bernard Ahiafo, of course, will get some answers from government on this particular LI. Now, on to education, because former Vice Chancellor of the University of Ghana, Professor Ernest Ayite, says government does not have what it takes to sustain the free senior high school program. According to him, government's 1.2 billion cedi budget allocation for the program is woefully inadequate for its continuity. Speaking at the Graphic Business Stanbic Bank breakfast meeting on quality education, Professor Ayite says government must channel its energy into equipping the public schools and accept offers for the funding of the program.
Many of the challenges faced in the schools have arisen not because there's no room to go to or classroom to go to. They've arisen because we have not spent enough money on those classrooms to equip them. I'm worried about the gap that is emerging in Ghana. We are in a Ghana where, depending on the choices you make, your children have an advantage. What the government contribution should be doing is complementing or adding to what was there, not substituting for what was there. You know, as I said, you have 1.1 to 1.3 million coming in. We need not to change anything at all for the schools to run as they were, 3.3. So there's a deficit. That deficit needs to be filled. Parents making contributions is one, and anything else that you want to add to it. So there's a lot that goes in there. When you deny all of these groups the opportunity to make serious, significant contributions, you are basically destroying the system.
You have the former Vice Chancellor of the University of Ghana, Professor Ernest Ayite, but Deputy Education Minister Dr. Yaw Educhum says funding for education in the country must be seen to improve critical aspects of the education sector to ensure that beneficiaries can actually contribute effectively to the economy.
As we look at sustainable ways of funding education, I also venture to say that the best way of funding education is to fund it on things that are critical, on things that can really improve the learning culture in the schools after you guarantee access, and make sure that the very people that you are educating are the ones who are going to help improve the economy in such a way that you not then begin to worry too much about funding for education, because the innovative ways of doing things and the creativity they bring to the fore to improve productivity in industry is what will improve our economy.
Deputy Education Minister Dr. Yaw Educhum. These concerns are emerging as some 470,000 students on the gold track begin the 2018-2019 academic year today. But some senior high school teachers and students on the double track system are asking government to concentrate on providing infrastructure and teacher incentives to sustain the policy. Love FM's Erastus Sasaredonko has more in this report.
Many of the green track students had exited the campuses for a break after 41 days in school. The few we met at the Kumasi High and T.I. Ahmadiyya Senior High Schools spoke highly of their time in school as pioneers of the double-track system.
We were able to complete half of the topics according to the time for the studies. At first it was 30 minutes, but now it was 1 hour. Some
teachers noted implementation has been smooth so far, but schools will need critical ingredients to sustain it. They cite specifically textbooks for some subjects as well as teacher motivation.
So when I compare, I can see that we are done with half of the topics for the semester. So when they come back for the break, we'll be able to finish the rest of the topics.
These facilities here cannot contain those in Form 2. For those in Form 2 are going to Form 3, they will have space. But those who are in Form 1 coming to Form 2, so we combine them of 1,300 students. Our facilities can contain them.
In terms of literature, we do not have the reading test. It's very difficult to get the books. I have to call a friend in Nigeria to get the books and ship them for me to go and pick them.
Assistant Headmaster for Domestic Affairs at the Kumasi High Senior High School, Ernest Badin, and his academic affairs colleague at TIMAS, Minta Bieni, look into the future.
Actually, we need about 80 unit classroom to be able to accommodate. Once they were divided, the challenge was minimal, and I want to be overwhelmed with people placed here for visual arts. We had requested for 2 classes for visual arts. I went the list came, we had about 4 classes for visual arts. So we had to adjust somehow, accommodate them.
Reporting for Joy News, Erastus Asaredonko, Kumasi.
Now, in a related development, Deputy Education Minister Dr. Yawo Educhum has debunked rumours of an ongoing mandatory vacation classes for double-track students. The Deputy Minister says that teachers and district assemblies can provide that extra support while the teachers or the students are on vacation, but the ministry is not bearing that cost.
The teacher is on vacation, and he says, I'm willing to offer my services. A parent is saying, I don't need my child to help me on my cocoa farm. He can participate in the learning process. There's nothing illegal about that.
Okay.
However, if this was going to be done and the teacher who is on track leaves classes to go and teach that is where you can say you can do that. But other than that, I don't see how anybody can say that teachers are not allowed. Private school people are being innovative and creative. Others are looking for ways where they can provide extra support. How do you mandate classes for students during vacation? In our opinion, vacations have always been vacations, and it's just a way of counseling the students to use their time well, like they do when they're in the universities.
So if the district assemblies decide to do any of these, that's up to them. They're allowed to do so.
Yeah, they're allowed to do so.
Okay.
Deputy Education Minister Dr. Yawo Educhum. This is the Midday News on Joy 99.7 FM, live across the world on myjoyonline.com and a number of affiliates across the country. Stories we've covered so far: protesting residents of Adenta and Medina issued 10-day ultimatum to government to fix footbridges as dozens of people are killed by speeding vehicles on the highway. Also, government fails to meet its own deadline to send to Parliament legislative instrument on Office of Special Prosecutor. The minority says it shows lack of commitment on the part of government in the fight against corruption. Still to come, all to play for. The story about Ghana's budding female football stars and the people pulling them down.
I want my mother to see that the school that I'm going is not just like playing. I want to play like Ajabaya.
Also, words from Archbishop Duncan Williams to Christians kicking against construction of a national cathedral.
And some of you are fighting it because it's not your party and your president that is building it, so you must oppose it. And some of you love your political parties and more loyal to your political parties than you are to the Bible and the cause of Christ.
My name is Kwame Sefakai, and most of you know me as a media personality, but I am also a family man. The UMB mobile banking app, UMB Speed App, saves me so much time by letting me do almost all of my banking transactions on my phone. The cardless withdrawal feature allows me to withdraw cash from any UMB ATM without an ATM card. I can also pay bills, transfer money, request for a loan, invest money, and so much more. So now, I can spend less time at the bank and more time with the ones I love. Bank anywhere and anytime with a UMB mobile banking app, UMB Speed App, and get the time to do what you love most. Download the UMB Speed App from your Android, iOS, or Windows phone today. Call 0302-633-988 for more information. UMB Speed App, Digibank, let's go!
Thanks so much for staying with us here on the Midday News. Time for sports. Benedict, what a weekend it was.
Yes, yeah, what a weekend. Your team, Manchester United. Which 4-3? You lost 3-1. It was Barca that lost 4-3 at home. But see, I told you that you were going to lose and we're making more.
It's just 1-1. It's fine. What's in sports?
All right, now the African Women's Championship will begin this coming Saturday, and Ghana will be hoping to do a host and win. Now, the Queens defeated the Bayana of South Africa 1-0. In their last trial game played at the Accra Stadium yesterday. Now, the attendance at the stadium was discouraging despite opening a free gate. Now, with the tournament set to begin this coming Saturday, a member of the GFA Normalization Committee, Na Odufole Norte, who doubles as head of delegation for the Black Queens, is calling for massive support for the team.
We've realized that, listen, it seems that the media, not really, or let's say the public, I should say, is not really aware of what is going on. And so therefore, between now and Saturday, whatever each and every one of us can do to drum up support, to talk about it. Those of you with the huge platform, you have this huge platform, put it on blast. They should come and support the Black Queens of Ghana to win this. We can do it.
Na Odufole. Again, say after me.
Na Odufole.
again.
Now Odefuli.
Odefuli. Okay.
Now Odefuli. All right. Now the Ghana Football Association has confirmed Inter Milan midfielder Kuja Sama will not be available for the Black Stars Africa Cup of Nations qualifier with Ethiopia this coming Sunday due to a knee injury. Now, according to a publication on the GFA website, Asamoah suffered a swollen knee after featuring in a side Serie A League match with Atlanta over the weekend. The injury is a reoccurrence of an old problem, and Asamoah has requested to be excused from the match with Ethiopia to enable him seek further medical attention with his club. Now, Coach Kwesi Appiah has granted Asamoah permission, and the Black Stars coach says there will be no replacement. So what it means is that in that game, Ghana will take 19 players for that game against Ethiopia. There is more on this plus other stories at 1 on the Joy Sports Track with Gary Smith.
Thank you very much, Benedict Owusu. In most traditional settings in Ghana, sporting activities are thought to be just for boys. Girls who pursue sports, therefore, face lots of resistance and hostilities from all angles. In our upcoming documentary dubbed All to Play For, Joy News' Gary Smith tells the story of 13-year-old Princess Ando, who is unfazed by all the stereotypes pushing her far away from her aspiration of becoming the celebrated footballer she's always dreamt of. This is part of our build-up to the 2018 African Women's Cup of Nations, which starts Saturday, November 17.
Reactions to girls playing football from peers and older people can be wildly different. Take Princess, for example. I asked her about reactions she typically gets from her friends because she plays football.
They encourage me, and they also, when I do something and it's not correct, they also correct me.
This morning, is that okay? Yes. All right, nice one.
But has she ever encountered negative feedback because she does not behave like most other girls her age? Apparently she has. And believe it or not, it was from someone you'd think would know better.
Yes, one of my teachers said it to me.
One of your teachers told you that you are wasting your time?
Yes.
What happened? Tell us how it happened.
She said that every day I don't like sitting in the class. Every day I'm outside, I'm going to play ball. So I don't like staying in class. So I should stop playing football because it's not good.
So when she said that, how did you feel?
I feel bad and I feel sad.
But you didn't stop playing?
No.
Why? Why do you continue playing football even though your teacher says you are wasting your time?
Because of my coach and my mother. I want my mother to see that the school that I'm going is not just like playing. I want to play like Ajabayo.
Indeed, because sporting activities are very much seen as exclusively for boys at many levels of a Ghanaian society, young girls face serious pressures to stay away from the playing fields. And when they insist, there's usually a pushback.
How do you deal with the stigma around you?
Yeah, what I do is I just don't mind what people say about ladies playing football. It's a game, and if you love it, you just need to do whatever your heart tells you to do.
That's the build-up to the Africa Women's Cup of Nations, which starts on Saturday. It's all to play for, so look out for that. That's Gary Smith's report. Now, just before we go, General Overseer of the Action Chapel International, Archbishop Nicholas Duncan Williams, is unhappy about how some Christians are opposing the construction of a national cathedral. Take a listen.
I've been here for a while. Never have I seen any president, save or unsaved, who came into office and said, I want to build a national cathedral to the name of the Lord. At least it is one thing he cannot will it to his kids or his immediate family. At least there's something somebody is determined to do for the benefit of the name of the Lord and for the benefit of others and humanity and not for himself. And you know the people fighting it? Not other religions, but it's us Christians. It's us Christians fighting it. And some of you are fighting it because it's not your party and your president that is building it. So you must oppose it. And some of you love your political parties and more loyal to your political parties than you are to the Bible and the cause of Christ. That is where we are. The Muslims have built a national mosque. And nobody has complained about it. But a national cathedral where there will be first of its kind, Bible museums with the different characters in the Bible being showcased, where children, family, people would travel from far and near to pay and come and look. And it shall stand for God and country as a memorial. Who will oppose it? Who is giving to it? Who is financing it? Where is the money coming from? As if somebody have asked you for your money.
You heard there, the General Overseer of the Action Chapel International, Archbishop Nicholas Duncan Williams. Time now to check out what's trending on social media. And Fifi Kumsin is here with what's trending. Fifi?
Absolutely. You know, there's a lot of talk about the Tema motorway. And Naniga says the Tema motorway is a death trap if you're speeding. So if you don't have the force strength or stretch of the motorway in your photographic memory, I suggest you do 50 kilometers per hour. It is cool if you're trying to get home safe. And then there's this one from the TDC, and it says that while awaiting the major rehabilitation works to begin, work on the patching of the potholes on the 18-kilometer Tema motorway is to commence this week.
And that's what's trending on social media with Fifi Kumsim. Don't you just love him? And that's it for the midday news here on Joy 99.7 FM. There's more news when you log on to myjoyonline.com. I am MFA Apau. Have a great working week.